Hi guys, welcome to the part 2 of our topic, securing the management plane using the Radius server. Last time, we created an account and secured our management plane using the local database. Locally configured username and password can become an administrative nightmare if you have a network with many network devices. Each time you want to add a username or change a password, you have to log in each device one by one to add or change something. It's better idea to work with a central AAA server for authentication. On this device, you add all the username and password. You configure your router and switches to use this server for authentication, authorization, and accounting. In this video, I will show you how to configure a AAA on a Cisco router and switches. We will use the Radius server with the pre-Radius software using a CentOS Linux. But if you want to use other Linux distro or Windows operating system, that is also possible. Pre-Radius, as the name implies, pre and easy to configure. And once everything is configured, a user that want to access the console and use the privilege mode will be authenticated and authorized by the Radius server. I'm still going to use this topology and work with my CentOS to act as my Radius server. But the question first, how are we gonna connect the CentOS to the GNS3? Let's do that step by step. First thing to check is the interface of the LAN card of your GNS3 VM. As you can see here, I have two network adapters. These are the LAN card that you can use to connect to the GNS3 to the host VM. The first one is connected to my BMnet1 or host only, while the network adapter 2 is connected to the BMnet0. In my case, that is in bridge mode and it's connected to the real LAN card. Let's click OK to that. Step number 2. We are gonna drag a cloud node, since this is one of the way for us to connect our virtual machine to our GNS3. And I'm gonna change the symbol of that device. It doesn't matter whatever you choose right now. This is just for the sake of the laboratory. But since I'm gonna use the CentOS here, I'll choose the server. Apply, and then OK. Third and final step, bridging the VM host to our GNS3. Let me close that first. Okay. In this scenario, you're still going to see two LAN cards. The ETH0 represent the network adapter 1, which is the BMnet1 host only that I showed to you earlier on the GNS3 VM. While the ETH1 is the network adapter 2 BMnet0 in bridge mode. In other words, if I link this device on the ETH1, this will be connected to the VMware using the BMnet0. The reason why I want to connect it on the bridge mode is I need to make sure that my CentOS have an internet connection, since we're gonna install the pre-Radius software later. Let's install the pre-Radius to our CentOS server. So going back to our VMware. Okay. Guys, I'm in the console mode as of now, but if you want to go to the GUI or desktop mode, just need to press, in my case, Ctrl Alt F3. And just gonna go back to that one. Don't worry, it doesn't matter whatever you choose, since even though I use the GUI mode, I'm still going to use the terminal, or I'm gonna open a terminal, so it's just the same. So let's start. Username test, password. Let's verify first if this CentOS have an internet connection. Let me check the interface. Yes, it's in the bridge mode, so no problem. Let's check the IP address. It's 192.168.1.150. Let's ping the internet to verify. Okay, we have an internet connection. Since everything is set, let's now use Yum. I search first the packages that the pre-Radius do have. Now, the only thing that I need right now is the pre-Radius util, so I'm gonna install that. Yum. Install. Okay. Now, the only problem is need to make sure that we are in the root user. So maybe I can type sudo for that. So, okay. It's asking me a password. Now it's gonna asking me if it's okay to install. Yes. It's installing as of now. I just need to wait for it. It's done. Let's configure our laboratory. I can type clear first. Okay. Step number 1. Let's start the pre-radius or the radius server. Systemctl start radius d. It's asking me a password again, no problem. But here's the idea. If we're gonna configure something to our Linux server, as of now, it will keep on asking me some password if I'm gonna use sudo. So better yet, I'm gonna be the root user first. Probably this will be not the best practice for others, but just for now, since we're just having some laboratory. So sudo su. Okay, now from test, I'm gonna be the root user. So to check the status, systemctl status radius d. It's running. Step number 2. Since I'm gonna use the radius port, I need to permit it on my firewall rule. So clear first. Here are the open ports or permitted port as of now on our Linux box. But let's add radius. Let's make it permanent. Up arrow. Let's reload it. Then let's check it again. Okay, as you can see, the radius is already up or the port for radius is already open. Step 3. Adding the switch as our client in our radius server. Here. Let's edit the client config. Okay, at the bottom maybe. Let's add our switch. Press I to edit it. By the way, let's check the IP address of your switch. The 201, 192.168.1.201. So let's type client 192.168.1.201. Open curly bracket. They need to have a secret or at least a key to associate with each other. So as of now, I'm gonna use the Ribbon _ key. So I also need to type that later to our switch. NAS type Cisco. Short name. Let's name it switch. Let's close it. Press escape. :WQ. Now, to check that, let's type tail -n, maybe 10, and then client -config. Okay, so you can see it's 192.168.1.201. The secret is Ribbon key. Don't forget that. NAS type Cisco, and the short name as of now is switch. Step number 4. Let's add a user. So clear first again. ls. So bi users. At the bottom maybe. Press I and let me add myself. Be careful with the character. This is case sensitive. So just need to do this slowly. Then let's add the shell type. Equals to 15. Gonna add another user such as Ribbon. Clear text. Only gonna have at least a privilege level access of 5. Cisco 143. Service type NAS prompt user comma Cisco -AB pair. Press escape again. If everything is checked, let's verify it first before we save it. Okay. Escape, then colon WQ. And then let's start our service. So system ctl restart radius d. If everything is good to all the things that you type, this shouldn't have any problem at all. So to verify that again, let's check it. Then users. We're here, Race and Rivan. Race is in the privilege level 15, while Rivan is only in the privilege level 5. In other words, once they access, they're gonna be on that shell privileges. Step number 5, associate the switch to our radio server. So going to our switch, let's check the IP address. It have an IP address of 201. Let's ping the radio server. It's reachable, no problem. In that case, let's configure AAA. Radius server, radius lab. It doesn't matter whatever name you put right now. You just need to specify something. Okay? So address IPv4 192.168.1.50 150, the IP address of our radio server. Authentication port 1812, accounting port 1813. Enter. Then still remember the key that we used on our pre-radius earlier, Ribbon key. Just need to make sure it have an equal value. To verify that, show run pipe section radius. The official port of radius authentication and accounting are 1812 and 1813. Before, IANA allocated a port number for 1645 and 1646, and many radio server clients still use this port right now. Let's continue. Authentication, login, default, group, radius, then local. AAA authentication, enable, default, group, radius, then enable. AAA authorization, exec, default, group, radius, local. Okay. For AAA authentication, for login, enable, we use the default group. In other words, it's gonna work with the auxiliary, console, and BTY. The first thing to check for the username and password will be the radio server. If the radio server doesn't respond, probably it's down or it's turned off, the local database will be your failsafe. Okay? Same as with your authorization. So, radius, and if this is down, the local database will be your authorization. Okay? For failsafe, let's create our username here. Admin, password, pass. Okay, so if ever the radio server is down, this will be our username and password. But I'm sure it's gonna work. Enable, password, pass. Then line PTY 0 to 4, transport, input, all. Since everything is set, now let's test it. Test, AAA, group, radius, race, the username that I created on my radio server, Cisco 1234 the password, and then new code, enter. So as you can see, it's user successfully authenticated. So much better, I think, is for us to use this tiny core Linux for testing. So let me console that. Okay, here you go. Let's check the IP address first. It doesn't have an IP, so let's put an IP address of 192.168.1.250 with a gateway of 192.168.1.101. Okay, so click apply. Now let's have some terminal. Telnet 192.168.1.201. Now our topology. This is the case. So let's press enter. It's asking me a username, which is the username is race. The password is Cisco123. Okay, we are authenticated. But the question is, as you can see, I'm not authenticated using the user exec. I'm already in the privilege mode. Let's see the privilege access that we have. Show priv. So I am level 15. No doubt about it, because since still remember, I configure race and I have at least 15 privilege access, while the Riban, in our case, is level 5. So let's test that. Let's type exit here. Telnet 192.168.1.1.201. Okay, just kind of excited. So, Rivan, Cisco 143. So there you go. So show privilege. So it's privilege level 5. There is no doubt that our radio server as of now is working. Let's add another client. How about this core 1 that have an IP address of 192.168.1.101. So I just need to register it on our CentOS. So ls bi client.config. Check at the bottom. Okay, so somewhere to. Okay. Press I for editing. Then client 192.168.1.101. Secret. Just need to type something here. We just need to be the same with our score. Key 2. NAS type. Cisco. Short name. Core 1. Just need to close that. Save it. Press escape. WQ. And then we just need to restart our service. System. CTL. Restart. Radius T. Let's configure our core device. So right click console. IP address first. Good, 101. The radio server is pingable, no problem. So let's configure AAA. Okay, we have some sort of problem. Guys, if you're running an old image or probably an old version of a Cisco router, or iOS, or switch, there's another way for you to configure a radio server. In this kind of way, radius-server host, still the IP address of the radio server, which is 150, authentication port 1812, accounting port 1813. Okay, still need to type the key, radius-server key, and then Rivan underscore key 2. Yeah, let me verify that. Yeah, Rivan key 2. So back to this one, enter. After this, everything is the same. Just need to type the AAA authentication, authorization, AAA authentication, login, default, group, radius, local. AAA authentication, login, enable, default, group, radius, enable, AAA. Okay, so everything is set. I think we can test it right now. Before we test it again, let's try to enable first the login on our radio server. So going back to our CentOS, ls bi, or maybe I'm gonna use nano instead, radius, config. I'm gonna look for Control W, log, Alt W, so not that one. Okay, here we go. So guys, I just need to edit something here, which is the authentication. Just need to type, instead of no, just need to make sure that I have that. Yes, this is just an add-on, so just want to have some logs. Let me type yes here, and this one as well. And let's save that. Control X, and then if you want to save, of course, and then enter. System, CTL, restart, radius T. Okay, now let's go to our log folder. cd/bar/log/radius ls. Okay, gonna use tail-f radius-log. Okay, so now it's live. So let's test it. Maybe I'm gonna put this one somewhere here. Have my BNC tiny core. There you go. So telnet 192.168.1.101. Okay, it's asking me a username, which is the username. Still remember, Race. Still the same username that I have, the Race and Rivan. So as you can see, I'm logged in the core using tail on my CentOS. I have a login. It's okay. Race. The password is Cisco123. And it's accessing the core 1. So yeah, there you have it. It's working right now using the IP address of 250. That's the IP address of the person who's accessing it. Now let's try to use other username. How about typing a username that doesn't exist? Telnet 192.168.1.101. Then let me type test. Password is password. Okay, we have another log here. Authentication 1 log. Of course, we don't have a username which is test, and of course a password of password. Okay, so that's why it's rejecting it. So as you can see, it's written here. So if ever you're gonna have a brute force, you're still gonna see it here. So let's use the Rivan. Cisco123. I think that is 143. Yeah, it's working right now. I still log into my core. So guys, log in. Okay, Rivan Cisco143. Hate to say this, but it's happening right now. We can still see the password here. But don't worry, we're just checking if ever it's working or not. So that's the power of a Radius server. It enhances security and deployment by providing support for centralized user identification, authentication, dynamic key management, and accounting. I strongly recommend for you to try this as well. Is it easy? Yes. Is it worth it? Definitely. I hope I've been a big help to each and every one of you. See you in the next lesson. Out!